Wrestling League. My host with me, as usual, is Mr. Jeff Frank. Jeff, how you
Good
doing?
morning.
Hey, we're not going to do our usual show where we have a guest on today because we got a ton of things to talk about. We definitely want to do a review of the event you were just at, but we got to talk about some housekeeping issues as usual. Now, here's the other thing. We are officially monetized. So our channel has the ability to generate some income, and it should, because this is actually the second time this channel's been monetized. It was monetized under the old rules, and now that we've hit everything we got to do, Robin Chandler's already in the house. We're monetized again. And another thing that we have the ability to do is if you look at the bottom of a chat, there's a little $sign icon there. You now have the ability to send us super chats. And Jeff has told me that he guarantees whatever you type there, no matter what it is, will be read live on the show. Is that right, Jeff?
Absolutely.
As long as it's in good taste.
No, anything goes.
Anything goes. No hate speech. You'll notice I'm wearing my Espey's Armwrestling gym t-shirt, customized, because you can buy that shirt.
Stand up. Let's see the whole shirt there, big guy.
I'm not wearing any pants. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's actually a pretty nice shirt.
It's a nice shirt. You see the
not wearing any pants. Put some fucking pants on.
You see the graphic on the screen there is the Teespring store, and of course you can find that in the description of the video. So don't leave now, but do leave after we're done and go buy a t-shirt. But we got to get to the Patreon members, which, we're tossing around some ideas now that we have the ability to do all the Patreon stuff over on YouTube. Maybe there'll be a shift here. I don't know. It's we'll talk about that later, but there's a whole realm of possibilities that are open to us now. But we got to shout out all the Alpha Patreon members: Jeff Frank, Bruce Willis, Barbarian Arm Wrestling, Ready Go Garb, Brian Kerner, and Ready Go Solutions. Thank you all for the support. We appreciate you. And what do you want to start with, Jeff? You want to start with the announcements and the updates, or do you want to start with let's do the past, and then we'll get to the future?
Yeah, let's start with the past. So one of my questions to you is, as a more experienced international puller, and in no way am I making any excuses here, but is jet lag a real thing?
What are you talking about, man?
Well, I mean, I look at my super match. I feel that's a match at the Natfit Open that I believe I could win, given another opportunity. Now, when I flew down there, I flew in from Calgary to Vancouver to Seattle to Kansas City. I left my house at 4:30 to get to the airport in Calgary. I didn't arrive in Kansas City till about 3:30 the next morning, so it was pretty much a full 24-hour day. Had to pull around 10 o'clock the next morning. I did not feel good at all. I felt really weak, really drained. Have you experienced that in any of your international flights going over to wherever, Romania, Poland, Moldova?
Yes.
Do you feel when you're pulling those matches, it's wise to even going a day early? And I contemplated that, and I feel I should have done that and took a day just to rest.
Yeah, it is wise to go a day early. The worst I had ever felt was when I flew to Toronto on the way to the Arnold's, and all the flights got canceled. And then I ended up driving 10 hours from Toronto to Columbus all night long. And I slept for 30 minutes before the Arnold started. And I was super tired. If you look at all the pictures, I look like I'm intoxicated. My face is all, but I ended up doing okay. Oh, Jeff, with the phone. Yeah, it's definitely a real thing. However, there are ways to combat that. When you get there, you take a whole bunch of melatonin and go to bed. Or
there wasn't much time for going to bed. I had to be up.
Mainline the caffeine, and away you go.
Yeah. No, it was something I wanted to. Joe Vox was telling me about his trip over to Poland there and how he felt just extremely shitty, and it was kind of a weird flight to have to take that many flights just to get to Kansas City. you know, to go from Calgary to Vancouver, Vancouver to Seattle, Seattle to Kansas City. It was a little bit over the top, but nonetheless, it was a good time. Unfortunately, I lost 2-0, and yeah.
So congratulations to Mr. Skaggs.
Mr. Skaggs, he is a strong boy. He's a strong Southern boy from Springfield, Missouri. Very good top roll, really strong hand. He almost reminds me of a JP Pierre. Maybe not as seasoned, maybe not as experienced, maybe not as strong, but very similar in styles. You know, JP Pierre is one of those guys when you practice with him, it just hurts. Like it just he's a hard guy to practice with him. I know pulling Aaron Skaggs, there was a lot of resemblance there. He's got a real bony wrist, but it's like crazy strong. It's hard to break. I did manage to break it on the second match. I cracked him back and went for a hit and slipped out, and then in the straps he got me. So
all right. So what other matches do you want to talk about? I mean, we got Lewis and Logsdon is on the main card here. I'm just looking at the poster. We can break that down a little bit. Tim Lewis, the guy that he big times me once at an event.
He did what?
He big timed me. I went up and tried to talk to him. And he's like, "Who the hell is this guy?" But that was at a World Arm Wrestling League event.
Oh, really? Oh. Well, if it makes you feel better, when I got to Kansas City to Dirty Harry's, Tim Lewis called me over because he knew who I was.
Oh, you're getting the touch of the brown nosing, so to speak. So maybe, hey, Mr. Jeff Frank, I'm a huge fan of yours. Would you please put me in a match? Even though I'm a one-dimensional arm wrestler that's kind of unapproachable, a bit of an ass to people when I have the opportunity, but whatever.
You know, he was actually a really good guy. We talked there for a bit, and to be honest, I can't remember. I don't know what had happened. I don't remember that match a whole lot. I'd have to even go back and see who the winner was.
Fair enough. I know Logsdon is coming up. Young Logsdon Jr., who's coming up and looks like he's getting bigger and bigger. And he was just a kid when he started coming around with his dad to events. What are you doing?
Tim Lewis pulled Jackson Halthus.
Yeah, he had two matches. So if you look at the undercard, the bottom of the poster has him versus Halthus, and then the top of the card it says Lewis versus Logsdon. I'll wait.
I'm not sure that match actually happened.
Well, I mean, if I'm looking at the poster, it also says Bretta versus Bath, so we're going to skip over that one because we know that all got altered.
Yeah, that got altered. That had some sour taste in people's mouths, especially Jonathan Breda.
Well, it happens. I mean, does the Ernie Thompson and Don Underwood match, did that happen?
Yes, that happened. That was Donnie Underwood looked really, really good. You know, the one thing I like about Donnie Underwood is his attitude. When he's off the table, I spoke with Don there for a while, you know, just at the picnic table, and just a really nice guy, really humble, really down to earth, will tell you about his life, and, you know, just a really good guy. On the table, he's got a killer mentality. I loved it. I loved his antics. I loved his intensity. You know, it was classic Don Underwood, and he looked extremely motivated. And Ernie Thompson is one big dude, and I mean big. He's, I don't know what he'd be, 6'4", maybe 6'5", 270, and just solid. And Don beat him 3-0.
And made it look not competitive or competitive?
I think it was competitive. I don't think Ernie would get a win on him again if they did it tomorrow. But Ernie's got so much potential. So, no, Don looked good. He looked extremely strong.
Okay. And then we got Corey West, Nick Zinna, right-handed.
Yeah. You know, to me, Nick Zinna
is he healthy?
I don't know what it is. If he's healthy, he's not motivated. He showed up at the venue like late. Not taking anything away from the guy. He's a great guy. I talked with Nick for a bit. Extremely funny. Really upbeat, but he just doesn't seem to be. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to be motivated. It didn't look like the intensity was there from him. He showed up late, pulled left, and yeah, that was about it. And Corey went through him relatively easy.
Yeah. Now,
he may be injured. I'm not too sure.
Are there any other big matches we should talk about before we get to the left-handed four-way?
Yeah, that Steve Green Rush Schrader was a pretty good match. I after pulled with Rush Schrader for a little bit. He's a strong guy, and Steve Green looked really good. I'm not sure if he's been out of the game for a while or not active or what he's all been up to, but he looks strong again. He beat Russ 3-0.
Yeah. Okay. And then the four-way. And it was kind of confusing because it was round robin, right?
Yeah, it was round robin, best of 3 up until the finals. Here's the thing, man. Like Jonathan Breda, I went for breakfast with Jonathan Breda, however you say his last name, and he's a really good guy. Like just really good guy to hang out with. Super motivated, super confident. But the difference, I look at it in Canada about the super heavyweights, and like he's not a big guy. Like he's just not. He's I don't know, 240 at best, maybe 230. But he's got a really, really good left hand. But these guys, man, like you look in Canada at super heavyweights, who do we have that are big guys? We have Len Houghton, Ryan Espey,
Mike Gould.
Yeah, Mike Gould. And that's
Earl.
About it. Yeah, but even Earl's not. What would Earl be?
Well, when I started arm wrestling, Earl was in the 242 class, if that would give you an idea. So I don't think Earl's ever been over 300 pounds. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about just girth, monstrosity, tall, and,
they're just big.
Whatever.
Like you look at Ernie Thompson, you look at Bryce Talton, you look at Cody Merritt, you look at
Carnegie.
Ian Carnegie would be yeah. And all these guys, like, I mean, give it up for Jonathan Breda, man. Like he's a warrior. Like he went in all in and he gave those guys a fight. But Cody Merritt's a big dude. Corey West is even a bigger guy. Like they're just big guys. I just give them credit, but yeah, just Cody Merritt was unmatched, man. Too strong.
Cody and Corey have to be close to the same size, right?
Yeah, I would give a little bit extra height to Cody and a little bit more width. It probably balances out the weight being pretty equal.
But if you look at the way they arm wrestled, Cody just looked like the bigger man at the table. He was up taller, he was higher, and he was using a top roll to just go right through him. And Corey just seemed to try to go in low.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a big guy, man. He's got to stop wearing those painted on T-shirts, though.
Who's that?
Cody Merritt.
Those are 4XLs, brother. I mean, that's just how they look.
Bullshit. He's a 4XL. Those shirts are about an XL.
He's wearing this medium T-shirt.
He's a good guy. I hung out with him for a little bit. He's a pretty funny character. I like Cody. He's pretty good. But give it up for Jonathan Breda, man, in that four-way. He ended up beating Bryce Talton 2-0. So I think he took third in that. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. All right. So we got the aftermath of that. So you have Cody Merritt rocketing to the top of the In the Hook rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little bit of debate there. But on his way, he dragged yours truly up there with him. So Cody is now sitting at number 1, and I'm sitting at number 2.
Yeah.
Now, there is something that needs to be settled there because, well, Cody has been more active, and he is the reigning WAF champion, I guess, for 2 years in a row because there was no WAF in 2020. And I beat Cody at the WAF championships in 2018. We're going to have to run into each other at some point and sort out the pecking order. But the real question is, who's going to be the first one to leave us a super chat? But go on. What are your thoughts on the rankings, Jeff?
No, that match has to happen. Obviously, I want to do that match under a TAL banner. I think it'd be a good payday for both you guys. It needs to happen, has to happen, will happen. When and where, we don't know. Of course, I'll be seeing Cody here again in Boise. I did speak with Cody a little bit just on some I guess not contract, but some pay negotiations for his upcoming matches in regards with TAL and kind of what I was looking at for remuneration for him and all his matches going forward. So, yeah, it's a match that's got to happen. I think it's good. He's come it's awesome, man. It's a match that needs to happen. I mean, probably since the last time you guys both pulled, you guys have both improved immensely. Who's done more? Who's done less? I'd love to see it go down.
Well, it has to. It's a match that makes sense, but it might not happen for a little while because I have my eye on something else that's going on. Mm-hmm. And that will bring us to the talk of the future. So what are we? 1, 2, 3 weeks away. We have TAL number 2.
TAL 2, Big Al's, Meridian, Idaho. Going to be an unbelievable event. Huge. You've got so many guys coming out. You know, obviously you've seen all the super match athletes that are going to be attending. Jordan Sill's going to be there, potentially Matt Mask, a bunch of Canadians, Albertans, I should say. Man, it's just going to be star-studded, jam-packed action. I can't wait.
Now there's some changes. What are those changes? Well, let's go through the card. The card in front of you?
I will in 2 seconds.
Do you remember who's on the card? Because it's getting pretty deep.
I got so many matches on the go, man. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have to go back and check my own events out. So,
well, I mean,
I'm just going to start in the top left. We got Corey West and Robbie Burnett, best of 5 right hand.
So Robbie is still in on that match. Right-handed, best of 5.
Right hand, yeah.
Okay, no change there.
No change. Happening. We go to the far right. We got Dave Chafee, easy money against Corey West, left-handed. No change. Good match.
Okay.
Cody Merritt, Robbie Topi, main event. No change. Both boys are training hard. Robbie Topi sent me a picture yesterday of him curling about 900 pounds. So,
well, I saw him balancing 900 pounds. I don't know if I saw him curling it.
Well, he sends me different videos than you get.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how gravity, but there's a difference between you and I, Jeff. And the one difference is I understand how gravity works.
Hey, you don't think I understand how gravity works?
Well, no. If I'm on a preacher bench, I can
go jump off my deck right now and try to do
I can hold 1,000 pounds and move it 1/4 of an inch.
That's great for your tendons, man. Especially on a
bones,
negative.
Man. You're no spring chicken anymore. It's great. I saw the video with the multiple spotters, and all in good fun. But Robbie does look like he's monstrous right now. So
yeah, he's been doing a lot, training hard. I can't wait to. Yeah. And then we got
but at the end of that arm is the hand, so you better be working that too.
Yeah.
Because there's no secret where Cody's going.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting to see. It's fun to be down in the States and listen to everybody's opinions on how they think that match is gonna go. So you gotta love Cody Merritt, man. So humble, so honest. It's Anyways, we got Roman Gromoff, Martin Langlois. No change there. Great match.
We've been talking to those guys.
Pardon
They're
me?
still both planning because I haven't heard anything I haven't seen anything from Martin. Maybe I'm just not paying attention because my feed is full of all kinds of things. But have you seen any training footage or anything about them getting ready or getting excited about the match?
No, both messaged me, say they're training hard, but I've seen no actual footage.
Just a good, solid arm wrestling match that we're going to get to see.
Yeah. And then we got Ali and Justin Bishop.
Match of the century.
Match of the century. And there may be an addition to that match for Justin Bishop.
What's that? Loser leaves town?
I'm working on Jesse Halliday and Justin Bishop right hand.
Okay. As long as it doesn't disrupt the left-handed match.
Nah, nothing's going to disrupt that. Jesse Halliday and Bishop right hand would be an insane match.
That would be good. Yep.
Yeah. And then, the Len Houghton, Michael Todd match. Unfortunately, Len can't make it. He's got other things to take care of. So in comes multi-time provincial champion. Not sure if Mark has a national title or not. But the Moose, Mark Gay, left hand, Michael Todd, best of 5 for the open TAL belt.
Ooh. Now, I know you're buddies with Mark, and I know you train with him. And I know both these guys somewhat well. Michael Todd's a buddy of mine. We talk on an infrequent but somewhat regular basis. But Mark is going up, and the fact you want my thoughts on the match, Jeff?
Yep.
I think that everywhere that Mark can give people trouble, Michael is strong in that area.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge for Mark.
Mark is game. He will take on anyone, and he will not. He will.
Victoria Espey. That is not a good matchup. Are we talking about Ryan? Are we talking about Ryan and Cody?
Now, are we talking about? Maybe she's talking about it's one-sided because Mark is just gonna destroy. But Mark is tricky. It is super interesting. I'll tell you the one thing we're not going to do. We're not going to try to get Mark back on the show to talk about it because it takes us 6 months and, all the planets aligning perfectly.
Yeah. I don't even want to bug Mark right now. I just want to let him focus on this, and he's got about 3.5 weeks to get down to business and do as much training as he can.
Well, it's not the first time Mark's ever been the underdog, and in the match with Edward Burgoyne, a lot of people counted Mark out of that, and while the match result was, I think it was 3-0.
It's a match. It's a match Mark should have won.
Yeah, the fact is, Mark made some mistakes, but looked to be the guy that was more dominant as far as power and stamina went, and just made some mistakes, ended up fouling out of the match. Plus, you had a couple of referees that can see on a microscopic level when there was a molecule of oxygen that passed underneath their elbow, they would call that foul.
Yeah.
Even the opponent was saying, "Stop calling fouls." So, not that I want to criticize the referees or anything.
Oh, you like it
any more than I already have.
The one thing, Mark's a puller of mindset too. If he's in a good it all depends where his head's at. Like, if I were to say to you right now, what do you think of Stephen Marcoux in his left hand? We just seen what he did with Jonathan Thompson.
What?
What do you think
Where
of
did we see
Stephen
that?
Marcoux?
Did he just have a match with
What?
Jonathan Thompson?
Well, it would have been a couple weeks ago.
I missed it completely.
This is why it's
Where
hard
did
being
that?
a co-host, because you don't follow arm wrestling.
Oh my God! I can say names. Don't even know who the guys are. Tell me about that match.
So, anyways, Jonathan Thompson, Stephen Marcoux had a left-hand super match here. I don't know what it was.
I keep watching all these other arm wrestling shows, and all they want to talk about is Larry Wheels and Schoolboy. So I don't hear about these matches. Anyway,
how true is that, though? Good point. Good point.
Anyway,
but yes, Stephen went through Jonathan relatively easy. And I think if you talk about Stephen Marcoux, I think anybody that knows Stephen's going to say he's a solid guy. He's an up-and-comer. Well, why I'm bringing him into this is because at Provincials, Mark went through Stephen really easy. And, really easy. And I think Mark was in a completely different mindset. Now, my biggest concern about Mark going into this match with Michael Todd is maybe not perhaps where he was at when he pulled Steven, but maybe more where he's at right now with his weight, because he's lost a significant amount of weight. I think he's under 240 pounds. Is that going to play a factor?
It always does, man. You can't say that he's as strong right now as he was when he, like, how heavy was he when he and I pulled? Like 250, 260?
At least.
So now he's lost 30 more pounds, although he was really light when he pulled Evan. When's it going to be enough? Because I don't look at him and I don't look at him and say, holy shit, he looks powerful. I look at him and I'm like, man, it's like the guy healthy. So, I mean, I have to take his word for it, because I mean, I've been down that path just like he has. But the power just was not there when I hit that mark. And to beat Michael Todd, he's going to have some power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says about Michael Todd's left hand. It's Michael Todd. And at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of power behind that arm with Michael Todd.
And part of the deal is, not only is he going to have to, like, endurance will not be a factor for Michael Todd. You've seen how he trains, all his VO2 max stuff. He's not going to be a factor. He's going to have to beat him, and beat him relatively quickly. If they get hung up in a match, I don't think that there's going to be anything that Mark's going to be able to do to change the outcome once the match stops.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still intrigued, and I'm still going to watch, because whoever wins, I'm coming for that belt.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot on it at stake. And, to me, even with the league, there's a lot more than just saying, okay, it's Mark against Michael Todd. Like, let's we got to recognize that Mark is the TAL champion right now from an event that was heavily stacked. And he won that even after pulling a super match with Evan Burgoyne. He still won the left-hand open 220 class, 220 and over. So it's, Mark is a serious dude. He's a game opponent. And, when you look at you and the potential outcomes of future matches for you, there's also, it's just not, I get to pull Michael Todd. I mean, there's revenue there for you too. There's a potential to make some serious money. Maybe not WL money, but there's a lot of implications on the line that makes these matches more intriguing than just a matchup. It's kind of why I like doing this. You're gonna get paid for what you're doing. Gonna be a good matchup. Man, like the hype around Ryan Espey, and I'm not taking anything away from Mark K saying he's not going to win this match, but let's just hypothetically say that Michael Todd does win. That's a good matchup. Ryan Espey, Michael Todd. That's a good matchup.
It's a fun match, but the deal is, if I'm being honest, I want matches matches that are going to I shouldn't even say this shit because Mark's going to be pissed at me. I want matches that are going to increase my stock. So Michael Todd accomplishes that. Mark and I recently pulled. I don't know if it accomplishes that. So maybe I go hunting for something else should Mark come out on top, because there are matches out there. I mean, there's Cody Merritt is the obvious one. I mean, you have a ton of left-handed guys that are going to be. I mean, what if Robbie Topi beats Cody? Mm-hmm. There's still some things to settle there.
Hey, and with that being said, there's a lot more left-handed guys out there that need to show. I've been talking to Marcio Barboza, Jonathan Breda, man. Like Breda, look out for this guy. He might not be a super heavyweight, but I'm going to tell you, that dude's got a serious left hand. So does Bryce Talton.
Well, I mean, if the World Arm Wrestling League has no intention of doing a left season at all, for one thing, but a left-handed series, look at all the left-handed matches out there that are sitting there waiting for the TAL to pick up and run with. Now, there's tons. There's tons. They did a one-off because Devin has had an injured right arm, and Wagner Bordolato is primarily a left-handed guy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's lots of possibilities for guys in this league.
Tons of possibilities, and I'm, you know, I like the fact that you go down to Brazil, because not only is Wagner a badass left-handed puller, so is Vitor Munoz.
Yeah. So he's going to be coming up here.
All kinds of matches to be made. Yeah.
So I've seen this a few times. Let's talk about it. Barbarian Arm Wrestling's comment about he wants to have bronc riders. He thinks that rodeo guys would have super strong grips and transition well to arm wrestling. And I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, you do have, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think Ken Hempson used to be a saddle bronc rider at one point, and he left rodeo to come over and do arm wrestling. And it's worked out well for him, but he had a lot of training to do almost from scratch. It's not really the same thing. Yeah. It would be interesting to see how people move in from other sports. But if you watch the Ian Carnegie episode that we did a week ago, he also talks about Shaquille O'Neal and how Devin himself said that Shaquille O'Neal is the strongest non-arm wrestler at arm wrestling that he's ever faced. And that includes one of the strongest men on the planet, Hafthor.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, look at man. Arm wrestling has endless, and I mean endless, opportunity for people to come into the sport, where I think you could take so many guys, bring them into the sport, and you could completely upset the whole diversity of where the rankings are right now that are not involved in the sport. Whether it's, there's so many farmers out there, I can guarantee you, that are 40 plus years old school farmers that would come into arm wrestling just with natural strength, and you give them a year, that would be on. You can look at construction workers, you can look at bull riders, saddle bronc riders, any of these trades or careers where you're constantly losing your hands is naturally going to make you strong in that area. You do some training in arm wrestling. It's why we need to do these events like this and really promote our amateurs, is to get people involved, because I think there's just hundreds of thousands of people that don't know enough about arm wrestling, that if they get involved, there's a whole new block of people coming into the sport.
Tell me about this, John. You never told me about Jonathan Thompson versus Stephen Marcoux. Who won that match?
Stephen.
Handily?
Yes.
Left-handed.
Left-handed, yeah.
Because Jonathan is legit, and Stephen is a monster.
Yep.
Mark beating him. Okay, I gotcha. So there's also the argument that I've heard a few times. Why is it that the top 10 guys in North America have basically been the top 10 guys for the past 10 years, with a few exceptions.
Are you answering your own question, or are you asking me?
I'm asking you, other than Corey West, why is it that those rankings haven't changed? The same guys to have been doing it in the past are still the ones.
Well, how do you want to? I guess how do you want to look at it? I don't know. Like, look at the matches I'm trying to put together here. That I think are just insanely good matches that would have implications on rankings. I think too many of these events are focused on doing the same old thing, are they not? You're seeing the same matches just kind of flip. You're just seeing kind of the same, like, there's nothing wrong with putting on big names, big caliber opponents, but they make for good matches. But I don't think they do much for the rankings because you're really using those top 10 guys. There's so many big names out there that I want to exploit into this. You look like, is Jason Merlo ranked?
I don't know. I'd go and try to bring up the rankings, but it's going to take too long. I'll have them handy the next time we talk.
Is Jason Levine ranked? I mean,
most people know who Jason Merlo is.
Is Mark McPhail
Is Jason Levine ranked?
Yeah.
Probably not, because
is Mark McPhail ranked?
In Canada, they should be.
And so are these matches happening where you see, is Jesse Halliday ranked? No. If I were to ask how many people think that Jesse Halliday would beat Justin Bishop right hand, it'd be unanimous that there's no way. I legitimately feel Jesse Halliday would have the best shot right now of beating Justin Bishop right-handed.
Of guys close to his own weight.
Yeah.
That's an interesting statement because there's plenty of guys out there.
But realistically, I think, with guys like that, there's just so many people that are not getting the opportunities to pull to really upset and change rankings. It's just all these events in the U.S. to me seem to be just the same old guys. You flip a couple spots here and there and you throw these matches together, but nothing's really we're not making matches that are really going to change the complexion or the diversity of these rankings, like a Jesse Halliday versus a Justin Bishop, or even go down 4 or 5 spots. We don't see those type of matches. I just posted one right now, like whether it was a Fraser Benoit or Mark McPhail against a guy like Drew Bishop, who's just a killer left-handed. There's just so many matches to be made that are good matches that I think that I'm gonna bring into the TAL that will actually reflect into these rankings. You're gonna see more and more Canadians being in these rankings, even Europeans, maybe even some guys from South America. Whatever, as we start to grow this league, like, whether we create our own rankings or the chances rankings or whatever, you're going to see a lot of diversity. Maybe not diversity, but a lot of change in these rankings. I promise you in the next year.
And then you have the opportunity for those tournaments. In some cases, the tournament's way more interesting. I know Travis talks about it a little bit on his show with Gary. Talks about how the open draw tournament is the most exciting type of arm wrestling there is against the super match format, because after match 2, it really doesn't matter in most cases. And he's not wrong. So it sounds like he's building towards some kind of a major bracketed tournament with no weight class. And then WAL is doing things that are strictly super matches now, and TAL's got kind of the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we didn't talk about one of the matches.
Hey, what's that?
We didn't talk about one of the matches for the TAL upcoming.
Don Underwood and Todd Hutchings?
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, did we?
Yeah, and Don's going to kill me for that.
Well, we're talking about it now. We'll close the show on talking about Don Underwood and Todd Hutchings, maybe. So this match only the last week?
Yeah, so Michael Todd messaged me and said Don Underwood would like to have a match in Boise, Idaho against Todd Hutchins. I talked with Don Underwood. We talked on the phone. We talked down in KC. Not so much about that, but we just talked in general. And yeah, it came to fruition. They both wanted that match really bad and, made it happen. So TAL2, Boise, Idaho, Hollywood, Don Underwood versus Todd Zilla, Todd Hutchins. I think it's going to be a great match. I know a lot of people think that Don may not have a chance. Don's looking good. I don't know how, and I don't know what Todd Hutchins has been doing, being a no WL season. So I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting.
Well, I mean, you have a really conflicting style. Is Don back to the level of what he was? That's the question.
His hit,
If
his
he
speed
is,
looks
and
good.
I listened to his interviews with on Uncle John, and the way he talks like he's getting right back to where he was and should be there relatively quickly. If he is that guy, it could be a very competitive match.
Yeah.
If he is anywhere shy of that guy, I mean, Todd Hutchins is a problem.
Yeah, I think Todd Hutchins is a problem. Hey, let me ask you this. Todd Hutchins will not be coming into this match the Todd Hutchins that showed up for Matt Mask match, a 250-pound Todd Hutchins. Does that make a difference?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely it does. But Todd was also planning on coming and pulling the open tournament, which I hope he still does.
Oh yeah, I think he'll still pull that tournament.
He's not like he's getting off the couch and coming to arm wrestle in 2 weeks. He was planning on coming here, going to that event and pulling the tournament. So, I mean, I'm intrigued. Yeah. I think match one will tell the whole story of the match. Unless,
yeah,
yeah.
I think it's similar to the Matt Mask match with Todd Hutchins. I think if Todd Hutchins stops Don's hit, Don's speed, it's going to be a tough day for Don. If Don can hit right through that side pressure, Don's got a real good chance of winning this match.
If he does, it will upset the apple cart a little bit. I don't think, from hearing Don talk, that he has any interest, and I could be wrong, but my interpretation of his interview is that he has no interest in signing a World Arm Wrestling League contract, and that he wants to arm wrestle whoever he wants, whenever he wants, and not have to be limited anyway.
I'll expand on that. I don't think that that's Don Underwood. I think that's more than Don Underwood. I hear it quite a bit that people are not wanting to get locked into these. There's no, I don't want to get into that debate, but I'm hearing it more and more by elite guys about signing these long WL contracts where they're just restricted.
Well, would it be that big of an issue if COVID hadn't hit and everything got canceled? Because potentially, I'll use myself, I would have had maybe 2 matches in the World Arm Wrestling League.
Maybe.
In 2020. Probably 2, maybe more. Yeah, it depends. I mean, if I would have lost the first one, maybe not for the rest of the season. But sitting on the shelf waiting.
Yeah.
But then arm wrestling.
I don't know. It
just, the whole time.
Yeah, 6 months is a long time to be caught up in something, to do something maybe once or maybe twice. If we go back to, was it the last WL season? How many times did Michael Todd pull? Once?
Man, I don't know. Yeah, maybe once.
Like, I don't.
Twice, maybe?
Or did he? Maybe twice. I can't remember, but man, I don't see the value in that. To once, maybe twice for 6 months. That's a lot of that. That's half the year. Now, granted, I mean, if that makes him happy, then so be it. But the feeling I get from these guys is these guys want to arm wrestle, man. Like, when you talk to, I can speak on behalf of Matt Mask because I train with the guy every week. He would pull 5 matches if he could, but he's just not. He seems to be a guy that get a little bit more matches than everybody else. I think a lot of these times he's pulling 3 times throughout a WAL season. Maybe that one year he even pulled 4 times. Did he?
I know he was the guy they called when someone dipped out and they needed somebody.
Yeah. So, nonetheless, I don't want to get into WL contracts. It's
well. You had a closing thought there, Jeff? No,
I'm good.
All right. So TAL coming up 3 weeks from now. Mississippi State's this weekend. Is that right? We'll throw
Mississippi State this weekend. That looks to be a great event too.
Any big headliners on that one? Is there a super match going on?
Yeah, I think you got Paul Passmore, Mike Aiello.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, who else was on that card? I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it was a good card.
Yeah. All right, brother. Maybe we should wrap her up here.
No.
This has been. Oh, you got more?
Oh boy, you're getting amnesia or insomnia or something in your old age. What about the TAL giveaway?
Oh, that's the TAL giveaway. Yes, I forgot about the TAL giveaway. Jeff, take it away. All
right, TAL 2, Boise, Idaho, December 5th. One of the things I'm going to do so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 2 random pro classes, 2 random pro classes out of a hat. So we got 154, 176, 198, 220s, and 220 and over, left hand, right hand, plus the women's division. So what we're going to do is we're going to select 2 random matches. So I could pick out of a hat. Let's just say, for example, it's the 176 right hand class. The winner of that class will get an all expense paid trip to Red Deer, Alberta, Canada, to pull the TAL champion at the historic Red Deer Charity Classic, as well as get a free trip to Banff National Park, 2 nights, 3 days, all inclusive, for winning that division.
So you're giving 2 of those away.
2 of those away.
Will yes. That weight class, those selected weight classes, be known prior to the class beginning?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the morning of, during weigh-ins, before the tournament starts, we'll select the 2 random classes that they have the potential, if they win that class, to receive that. I guess that's not a giveaway. That's more of a you earned it.
Right. But you have to have some luck because those particular classes need to be selected out of the hat.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make one suggestion. Close the weigh-ins before you pull those names, before you draw those classes. Or you're going to have a ton of guys either jumping up or, just to see.
Yes, it'll happen after weigh-ins close, just before the tournaments. Well, actually, what I'll probably do is it right after amateurs.
So if you, potentially,
and I don't care.
Thousands of dollars.
Hey, it don't matter to me. If people want to jump up a class and take a run for it, by all means.
Okay. Well, I mean, you could potentially be spending thousands of dollars on bringing these 2 individuals up to the event, so that's great. Yep. It's somebody from Australia happens to pop over and jump into the tournament in Idaho, you could be spending thousands of dollars.
I mean, it ain't my money. That's Red Deer Tourism's.
Right on. That sounds good, man. That's a good incentive for people to go and pull again at TAL2. And yeah. Anything you want to talk about related to that, or are we good now?
I think we're good.
right. So the big announcement is that we're going to have 2 class winners selected for the all expense paid trip. First class.
No, whoa.
Economy to Red Deer. All right, brother. We'll close it on that note. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you guys in a week where we should have a special guest jumping back on the show.
Right on. Till next time.
Jeff.